Straight ahead on 12 News, a feat not many golfers have done. Meet a guy who did it on back-to-back holes. Then, re-energizing your team.
They'll be struggling to stay up, they'll be struggling in the class, and it's not healthy.
12 News Health Check has one simple solution. But first, why driver after driver received a traffic ticket today in Crystal. 12 News starts right now. It's something drivers often miss, and today in Crystal, police and other law enforcement officials took a close look at how drivers yield or don't yield at crosswalks.
As reporter Sonia Goins shows us, they didn't have a hard time finding offenders.
Very bad. It's hard to walk across.
The corner of 59th and West Broadway was a hot spot.
I have worked this intersection before.
Police pulled over car after car after car for not stopping for pedestrians in the crosswalk.
I'm a little surprised at the volume that we are getting.
All morning long,
People don't stop for anybody.
the crosswalk citations continued.
So he says that he clearly saw them. It said that they weren't far enough out for him to actually stop.
This driver didn't even try to deny he broke the law.
I believe it's about $178.
So here's the law. At crosswalks where there are no traffic signals, pedestrians have the right of way. And what that means is as soon as someone steps out into the crosswalk, cars are supposed to stop and let them pass.
So if you are going, say, northbound and the pedestrian is crossing and they're in the southbound lane, you're required to stop until they get all the way on the other side of the northbound lane.
Crystal police say they conducted the sting after getting complaints from neighbors.
I won't go across right there. I'll go to the stoplight.
Sarah Fields lives near the busy intersection.
If you get halfway across, there's cars going behind you or there's cars going in front of you or they just don't stop.
She has 5 young daughters and she's worried about their safety.
They just don't care. They're just impatient. They just go. Got somewhere to be.
Sarah is hoping today's sting will make people pay attention.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's a good thing they're doing. Maybe people will learn to slow down.
In Crystal, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Police pulled over 93 vehicles. 72 citations were given out during the sting, and that's a $178 ticket for a crosswalk violation.
After years of discussion, the Osseo Police Department may finally get a new police station. It would be a big upgrade from their current home.
This is it. If I wanted to have a private conversation with you, we'd have to go someplace else because this is it.
For years, the Osseo Police Department has operated out of this home behind City Hall, built in 1930. It's basically one big room and a basement. This week, the Osseo City Council voted unanimously to buy and renovate a nearby building owned by an engineering firm and convert it into the new police station. It'll cost the city around $700,000 and provide the police department with offices, storage space, and a locker room.
We'll have all the things that they don't have. They basically have a house with a living room and a bathroom now. So we're going to move up from that.
And if all goes smoothly, Osseo Police will move into the building in 2014. The old police station would be leveled to make room for more parking at City Hall.
Brooklyn Center is thinking about its future needs. The city is looking at all of its facilities, including City Hall and the Community Center, as part of its long-term planning. The council hasn't made any decisions yet, but one of the questions is whether there are changes that could be made to the City Hall that was built in 1971.
There's things that could probably be done to make it more user-friendly, make it safer, have a good customer experience, kind of the workflow process. Again, it's one of those things that we're looking at as part of the bigger picture. It'll take several meetings. It's part of our bigger capital improvement planning process. So there's a lot of things on the table that are being looked at, and this is just one of them.
The City Council is expected to begin its discussions later this month. There is another troubling aspect to the issue of homeless teens.
According to local police, within 48 hours, a homeless teen will be approached by someone in the underage sex trade. The issue is very real in the northwest suburbs. It has Brooklyn Park's mayor and faith leaders teaming up to discuss plans to build a homeless shelter for teens. Here's a breakdown of homeless teens at local schools. In the Osseo School District, officials have identified at least 425 homeless teens. In the Anoka-Hennepin District, it's more than 500. At Park Center High School, there's at least 80 homeless students, and at Champlin Park High School, there's more than 30 kids. Right now, no viable shelter for homeless teens exists in the Northwest Metro. On Monday night, Brooklyn Park's Economic Development Authority approved working with a nonprofit to eventually purchase housing for a shelter. That shelter would initially serve 6 to 10 teens.
Necessities like housing and putting food on the table are bringing more families to Interfaith Outreach looking for help. That number is up 6% in the past year. Now the organization is reaching out to get more of the community involved. The focus this month is on education. That's not only collecting school supplies, but also finding people to help with everything from early childhood programs to helping families looking for work in a changing job market. Interfaith Outreach is kicking off a campaign called Learning for a Lifetime.
We need to invest in thinking about kids not as high risk, but as high return. We're about not helping families just survive, but what does this whole community need to do in order to make them thrive?
If you're interested in finding out how to help, there are 2 events at Interfaith Outreach next Monday and Tuesday. There's more information on their website at iocp.org.
Robbinsdale residents want a grocery store, and now it's up to them to make it happen. Monday night, they gathered with City Council member Pat Bakken and a food co-op expert to discuss what it would take to get a food co-op up and running in Robbinsdale. Food co-ops are owned by members of the community, and there's a newly formed citizen committee dedicated to the cause. The people we talked with expressed a need for access to high-quality food.
I'd like a source of education in preparing high-quality foods, things that are good for us, some advice about how often we should eat some things. And I think the community effort in drawing such a co-op here is important to build solidarity.
Startup co-ops have an 80% success rate. One key issue to get the Robbinsdale co-op up and running is funding. Well, coming up, something to start now to get your kids ready for the new school year.
And later in sports, we'll meet a Maple Grove teen following his parents' footsteps into the sport of triathlons.
But first, it's a check of your AccuWeather forecast.
There's an opportunity this week for those looking for work. 10 Metro employers will be part of a job fair hosted by the Minnesota Workforce Center in Brooklyn Park. The job fair takes place from noon until 3. The Minnesota Workforce Center will also offer resume critiques and mock interviews. Open positions range from manufacturing and information technology to finance and healthcare. For many children, summer vacation and going to bed early don't exactly go hand in hand.
Experts say the extra amount of free time combined with the various ways to stay entertained can force kids to stay up much later than normal during the summer months. But in today's Health Check report, Delane Cleveland shares expert advice on how to start getting kids on a normal sleeping pattern as the first day of school approaches.
A visit to the playground is a glimpse into the pure joy that is summer vacation.
We don't need to end. Never ever.
Summers are synonymous with fun, and for many kids, that translates into a later bedtime.
When it should be at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, it's now at 8:30, 8:45, pushing it back a little bit.
Just ask parent Stephanie Clemenson of Plymouth.
Playing outside later, playing with friends, maybe getting in that last bit of TV.
Her son JT is entering the first grade in just 3 weeks, but she's slowly starting to move his bedtime back to 8 o'clock.
Slowly migrating back to the normal bedtime, so by the time school starts, we'll be back to hopefully his normal bedtime.
Sleep is extremely important for kids and adolescents.
Sleep specialists at Hennepin County Medical Center say she's doing the right thing.
My advice to parents is that they should start a bit early. They should not wait till the Labor Day.
That's because it takes kids and adolescents about 2 to 3 weeks to readjust their biological clock, and waiting until school starts to make the change could lead to an unwelcome awakening.
They will be struggling. They will be struggling to stay up. They'll be struggling in the class. And it's not healthy. They won't be getting enough hours of sleep.
Definitely less sleep during the summer than the school year.
Clemenson would know. Not only is she a parent, she's also a substitute teacher who knows the benefits of a well-rested child.
The well-rested child will be up front, eager to answer questions, engaged, willing to help, whereas the tired child, just might be acting out.
It's really fast.
That's why her goal is to make sure JT stays on track with the proper bedtime, despite how much he enjoys the freedom of summer.
Because I want that first week, the first month of school to go well for him and be off on a good foot.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Doctors say some ways that kids can get back to normal sleeping patterns include avoiding daytime naps and having limited access to those electronic devices while in bed. Meantime, parents can set a good example by going to bed early themselves. And of course, when the sun goes up or when sun goes down later, it's a little easier to stay up late, isn't it?
That's right, and those days are kind of waning. We're getting, unfortunately, heading towards fall.
It is the golf story we simply can't get enough of.
It's also the top story at the Clubhouse water cooler. You'll see it coming up. But first in sports, they are the defending state champions. John Jacobson tells us why the Wayzata girls cross-country team may be even better this fall when we come back.
Always hard to know what'll happen, but this could be a cross-country team to watch this fall.
Well, I think so. You know, they were last couple of years, and they should be at the top again. The Wayzata girls cross-country team returns all of its top runners this fall, putting the Trojans in great position to defend their state title. Here's Jason Malillo with a preview.
The Wayzata cross-country team logged a lot of miles this summer, some of the girls running as many as 80 miles a week. And whenever possible, they were training together.
We like to meet usually like once or twice a week at least, try and get as many girls together as we can, and we like to feed off of each other and see if one person is going to go do a really long run one day, they'll kind of call up some of their other friends and be like, hey, you want to meet here, and we can go running, and so it's a lot of fun.
Last fall's state title was the first in school history for girls cross country, and all of Wayzata's top runners are back. Still, there's a friendly competition among teammates, even though only the top 7 runners will be in the postseason lineup.
It's hard because there's some girls on this team who, if they were on any other team in the state, they would be on varsity. So it's hard to see some of our teammates that we train with over the summer. You know, unfortunately, there's only 7 runners that race sections in state.
Other teams will be gunning for Wayzata this fall. That comes with being the champion. But Coach Dave Emmons doesn't think his girls will be affected by outside pressure.
I shouldn't say this, but I don't think they look at the state meet as such a big deal. 3 years ago, we were 7th, and that was the first time we had made the state meet for 15 years. And that was like, oh my God, we made it. You know, it was such a big deal. The year after we took 3rd, suddenly it wasn't as big of a obstacle. Last year we won it, and now all of a sudden I think they're oozing with this confidence that, you know what, this is just another meet for us. Now, I say that, the caveat to that is you can't count other teams out. There's such good programs in the state that, and we know that.
There's a big target on our back. Yes, there's pressure, but I know that our team does really well under pressure. I know that we can do this. I know that we've worked our butts off. I'm very excited. I think we'll do fine.
The Trojans open the season Friday, August 30th at the Rosemount Invitational. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
The Wayzata girls are ranked 10th in the XCNation.com preseason poll. Last December, they took 7th place at Nike Nationals, an unofficial national championship for high school cross country. Kids learn a lot from their parents, and that includes a love for certain sports. On this week's Give It a Try, Jay Wilcox introduces us to a young man following in his elders' footsteps.
This week on Give It a Try, we meet a young man from Maple Grove who is following in his parents' footsteps and getting involved in triathlons. Alex Robb's gone from spectator to participant when it comes to triathlons.
My parents got me into it. I've been to many of their events and I just enjoy watching it, so I thought I would give it a try. And I started out doing it and I liked it a lot, and here I am.
Maple Grove High School senior-to-be Alex is a competitive swimmer in school and beyond, so his triathlon training leans toward the water.
I swim for a club and I swim around 3 hours 6 days a week, and I'll try to go for a run at least a couple times a week and maybe on the bike at least once.
He's a good swimmer, but laps in the pool aren't quite the same as lake swims.
Oh, it's a whole different world. It's a lot different. You know, you're in a lake, you're with people, the waves are hitting you in the face every once in a while, and I don't know, it's just a total different experience from the pool.
Here's how Alex rates himself in each event on a 1 to 5 scale.
All right, so for the swimming, I would rate myself a 5 since I'm on the Maple Grove swim team. I'm better than most people. And for biking, I would rate myself probably a 4. There are some people better than me, but yeah. And for the running, I would rate myself at a 2. It's not my favorite event, but there is ways I can improve. I mean, I've been trying to go out for more runs more often now, so.
Alex Robb's competed in triathlons for about 3 years now, and he's learned what he can do.
Yeah, I've been actually surprised a lot. Like, I was surprised how far I can push myself during the events. And
For Give It a Try, Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Alex will compete in his hometown at the Maple Grove Triathlon August 24th. And that's Look at Sports.
All right, thanks, John. We'll be right back.
Many golfers wait their entire lives to score a hole-in-one, and some never succeed.
But one man in our area didn't just get one this past weekend, he got 2. And listen to this, it happened on back-to-back holes. Here's 12 News reporter Carissa Wyant.
Everybody knows Eddie around here. He's a legend.
Eddie Manderville has become somewhat of a celebrity at the Theodore Wirth Golf Course. Eyewitnesses saw him hit 2 back-to-back holes-in-one on holes 7 and 8 at the par 3 course.
Hearing 1 hole-in-one, it's great, but 2 hole-in-ones is awesome, and back-to-back, it's just unreal.
Manderville is 81 years old and has been playing for 58 years. His feat may seem unreal, but hole-in-ones to him are nothing new. He's actually had 8 going into his legendary game Friday.
And I kind of said, they usually come in 3s, and I'll be a son of a gun. I knocked the next one in. Now, that amazed me. But
so now he has 10 holes-in-one under his belt.
Even some of the best golfers go a lifetime without getting any hole-in-one. So even though Eddie's had 8 of them going into this, it's still rare that going to back-to-back, it just doesn't happen.
Folks around here recognize him around the course.
It's Ed Manderville, and he's the best player around.
I gotta shake your hand, sir.
Well, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Congrats. That's hilarious.
All righty.
Nice to meet you. That's
My pleasure.
fantastic.
And he's not too hard to miss off the course either.
My license plate says hole-in-one, so.
Eddie's a legend around here. He doesn't, he's here every day and everybody loves him, so we're all happy for him.
But I take nothing for granted in golf, you know.
Yeah.
But I've put a lot of work into it too, so you only get it out of it what you put into it. So.
According to the National Hole-in-One Registry, the odds of hitting 2 hole-in-ones during a golf game are 67 million to 1. As for Eddie, he's heading back out on the course to practice for number 11. In Minneapolis, Carissa Wyant, 12 News.
And you can now say that they are the shots heard around the world because Eddie's story appeared on CNN. So well known.
Good for him.
That does it for us. Thanks for joining us.
See you tomorrow.